Hey traders from around the world, it's me, Jeremy Newsome with Real Life Trading. Hope you're doing wonderful. It is Wednesday, the 21st of March, 2018. Hope you're all doing deliciously well. Had a lot of stocks requested. We'll look at SPY here, some Fed announcement stuff. Obviously a pretty large upper shadow on the SPY. Yesterday was pretty much 1 penny away from a perfect doji, so I'm obviously hoping that this turns into a Morningstar reversal, but only time will tell. The Q's, a little bit of a high wave candle today, but looks a little more bearish than bullish, but it's right there at the 50, so we'll just end up seeing what happens again tomorrow. Had some FOMC stuff come out today for sure, and it'll just kind of depend on exactly how it plays out. Stocks that were requested, here's AMD. AMD, not a lot going on with this one at all. The only thing I see is this weekly chart, and the 100 simple moving average on the weekly is at $10.22. And if you're looking at trading this one bullish, you probably would want it to trade into that price and then bounce. That's really the only thing I can see on AMD, because right now it is flat, pancake flat. And yeah, there's a little bit of premium in some put sales if you really don't mind owning shares of AMD down here for April. So there's actually not anymore, I just checked. So the $9 put sale has like 5 cents, which is not very much. It had like 9 or 11 cents just yesterday. So anyway, very sideways on AMD. If you're looking at buying, you could probably pick it up down here and then just hold for the longer term. That's really all I got. Verizon, speaking of sideways, here's VZ. And this is a very nice, fun little channel on Verizon that we've been in for, a pretty good period of time. So it appears, at least on the weekly chart, we broke some pretty decent support. Now, granted, it's only Wednesday, so here's the daily chart, and we did close down there pretty nicely. Looks to me like Verizon's going to slowly keep grinding a little bit lower, breaking that support. We probably retest tomorrow or the next day, and then trade down into $45.44. Of course, time will tell, but that's my thoughts on Verizon. And then, of course, if it gets down there, which is the 45, 44 level, buy the dip. Here's the monthly chart, just looking at long-term stuff, and the 100 simple on a monthly is at 44.28. So, yeah, as it trades down into there, nice little buy low, sell high, dividend-paying, blue chip type of stock. Next, we also got requested was APA, Apache Corporation. This is the daily chart. And we were looking at Apache just yesterday in the afternoon swing trading room. This was kind of that drawing idea setup. And really what was interesting about it is you had a little bit of a bullish gap just yesterday on Apache, ticker symbol APA. So I like the little pop out of there today. It was trading pretty sideways, no real signals other than it did trade down to a really good support. Right, we've been down in these areas before and kind of chopped around and bounced. So if you're getting Apache long down at these levels, it makes sense to me. Pretty good dividend stock, been around for a while. And next short-term target, probably $39.50, but those long-term moving averages, definitely going to slightly pause into some of those. Here's DVA, and DVA also requested, had a nice bullish gap and go back here in December, and we pulled into the long-term moving averages. Here's the weekly chart. Again, we're also at the 100 simple on the weekly. So let me come back to the daily chart. We are kind of in the middle of those long-term moving averages, but I mean, we did trade to an immaculate support right there. A little bit of a bullish candle, so if DVA at some point closes above the high of really just yesterday, I could imagine that trade slowly skirting a little bit higher. If not, then it probably will chop around for a bit longer. Something like this, where we hang out in these long-term moving averages and then eventually maybe go a little bit higher, potentially in May when that's the next earnings season approaches. Here's Overstock, OSTK. A lot of people keeping their eyes on this one, and rightfully so. You had a very nice Morningstar type of reversal pattern candle off of the 200 from earnings. And today is an inside day candle. So you actually have a perfect little pennant pattern right there on Overstock Dad's Camp. So I can see this breaking out of here. I know my buddy Brian Montgomery, I believe, is in this particular trade, and he's looking for that to break higher. So it's a nice pennant pattern. It's at a good location. Only time will tell if it breaks out. As you all know, one candle can change everything, including your life. So we'll see if Overstock.com can really break out of there, but that's a nice Morningstar type of pattern and a good support. ESNT, trading sideways. It's just closed above the 200 today, and that's the daily chart. Let me just go look at the weekly. I don't really know anything about this company, but trend looks nice. So here's the exponential moving averages. We are above the 50, and then let me go back over to the daily. Yeah, so it's a pretty decent little close. You know, you got some bearish candles in here, got a good close. So if this thing were to pull back tomorrow into about 41, 45, something like this, one could have a stop at about 31.45, and that's pretty much about $2 worth of risk on ESNT, and then we'll see if she bounces from there. A little bit of a double top that came in right there as well, so that likely will cause some sideways motion to take place with that lower high. So we'll probably get something like this on ESNT, but overall looking pretty fresh. And we got one last one is OLED. And Universal Display Corporation. This was a very pretty gap that we got a chance to score pretty big on with this gap down on Monday. So I had a really pretty bearish gap and go on Monday. It was a nice gap. And here's the weekly chart. So the weekly chart, you actually have the 100 simple moving average right at $100 on the weekly. That's pretty cool. But there's also some short-term support here at 108. And that's really what appears that we are bouncing off of on Universal Display Corporation. So the gap is kind of filling a little bit. Here's the hourly, and my thoughts on the hourly chart are pretty simple. Nice bearish move, a little bit of a retest. We probably roll down a little bit more, and then eventually, or hopefully for those traders who are in bullish, bounce on OLED around the 108 area. And if it doesn't bounce there, then my thought is it probably does make it down to the 100 simple on the weekly chart, which is that $100 price range. But this was a pretty good gap. All things equal, it just paused very nicely at this really rock solid support at 108. So hopefully OLED continues a little bit higher for those who are in. Folks, thanks so much for tuning in to your Wednesday real life stock review. I did lose 3 R's on the day. Southwest got me. I was in a bullish swing trade on Southwest, and just randomly all of the airlines were gapping down this morning. And not only that, but also tried to trade it bearish on the 5-minute chart, and it just never rolled over. So we got in bearish here with a stop there after it retested, and that candle's the one that came and got us right there, the breakout at 9:45. So we got triggered in at 9:25, exactly 20 minutes later. That's usually what happens. If I lose on a day trade, especially if I lose a full R, it usually happens in under 20 minutes. It's just kind of an interesting metric, but no big deal. Other than losing, no one likes having losing days, especially 3-hour losing days, but that is what it is on Southwest. So I went from 10.11 Rs to 7.11 Rs for the month of March with a week and a half left. We'll see what happens, but the markets are closed next Friday. That'll be nice. Got a lot of options out there expiring in April, so we will see what takes place. Folks from around the world, I'll see you all Friday. Until then, remember, love life, live fun, trade it. Bye.